Oh, well, hello, my wonderful, beautiful broskis of the wonderful, beautiful Maverick Nation. Broskis and broskis. Maverick Nation. This is part freaking 4 now of What If Lancer Was Friends with Vanilla Sands. And in the last part, basically, Susie and Chris, like Chris and Susie are in the Darkning world now, and they just got introduced to some pretty shady shit with the introduction of two other characters from the AU EXE tale, which is the AU Vanilla Sand is from. And those two other characters are Vanilla Frisk and Vanilla Chara, which Vanilla Chara is the Revenant symbiote that lives inside of Frisk. Yeah, that's a thing that happened. And basically, like freaking Lancer decides to release them as long as they promise to play nice. That's literally what he says, as long as they promise to play nice. And he gives them a serious look. He's like, as long as you two promise you won't kill each other. And he's being serious face. You know, Susie can kind of tell. And from the look Susie gives, like, Vanilla Frisk slash Vanilla Chara can kind of tell that this is probably like a serious look he's giving off. And so that's why that person is giving that look. So, yeah, basically, they guess from what Susie's expression is what that Lancer guy's expression probably is. Because like, Vanilla Chara is a very fast learner. Like, don't get me wrong, Vanilla Frizz is also a very fast learner. Like, both of them are very intelligent, but Vanilla Chara is the older sister. And so Vanilla Chara, Vanilla Frisk is gonna put some of like their trust in Vanilla Chara to like help them, not die. Because older sister and Vanilla Chara is very good at gathering information and like soaking up information like a sponge, even better than a sponge. You know what I mean? Because sponges aren't really alive, at least like the square ones. Unless you're talking about SpongeBob. Jesus. Anyways, uh, you know, after all of that is done and over with, and Susie and, you know, Vanilla Frisk, Vanilla Chara, they basically shake hands. They're not gonna try to kill each other. Basically, what, like, freaking Chris and Susie want to know, and, like, Lancer and Rossi would probably want to know, is, like, how the hell and why the hell are you here? How the hell did you get here, and why the hell are you here? And well, Vanilla Char is like, well, for one, Vanilla Sans probably told you this, Lancer, already, but our universe is destroyed. Like, our universe, EXE Tail. It's not so much destroyed, more as this, like, destroyed in the sense that it's in eternal, instead of eternal damnation, eternal stagnation. So yeah, like, nothing is happening. Nothing at all. Except for what we do, and nothing else. Except for like what the inhabitants like put on the universe. Besides that, there is nothing going on. Literally nothing. It is a ghost universe, essentially. Essentially, it is a ghost universe. Except for the fact that ghosts are monsters, so it's even less than that. because there aren't even any ghost monsters in the sense of both like ghosts and ghosts that inhabit like machines like Metaton. Like not even like any sort of version of him is there. Like literally, it is null and void. Their universe is null and void of anything. Like it's just like freaking stagnation, complete stagnation. And so, you know, there's that. And, also the fact that after being killed by Vanilla Sands so many damn times, like, Frisk was already scared half to death of Vanilla Sands after, like, the, I don't know, 50th freaking try at trying to kill him. During a genocide run. Like, several genocide runs, considering how many times they had to reset. Like, they didn't really have a choice but to reset and do it again, or at least attempt to do it again. And even whenever, like, Vanilla Chara was called upon, that just meant even more death for them. Like, whenever they start to think, like, they think the amount of times they've reset to do that fight over again is like in the thousands to hundred thousands, maybe even millions or billions. But that's just like if you calculate both the pacifist and like the genocide like version, because like it's just crazy how many times they tried and failed. Because Vanilla Sands is a merciless mofo. He is absolutely merciless, like mofo. And hey, you know, freaking Lancer knows that from experience as well. Because, he saw the potential in Lancer and wanted to bring it out no matter what he had to do, as long as it was to his code of ethics. Yeah, as long as he thought it was ethical, like in any shape, form, or fashion, he was gonna do it. Like as long as it didn't break his code of like his ethics, he was going to do it in order to bring out like the inner power which he sensed like, was like deep within him. He just needed that push. And it turns out that push that he needed was basically what had happened to him that basically drove him crazy and almost killed Dream. Like caused him to almost kill Dream. Yeah, he lost the two most important people to him at the moment. He basically got shell shock all over. And that's the thing that did it. That's the thing that woke him up, like woke up his inner, you know, you know, the thing that was missing, the part of Lancer that was missing that was going to give him all of this, you know, his untapped potential, basically. All of it. All of his untapped potential. And, basically, it's like, you know, Vanilla Frisk and Vanilla Chara basically talking about all these genocide runs. And Chris and Susie are kind of like wanting to know, did you do any pacifist runs? And Vanilla Frisk is like, wait, that's an option? We were told it was kill or be killed, so we kind of took that to heart. Or more or less my sister did. She didn't want to lose me again. It's a long story, okay? That whole thing about losing me, that's a whole nother story. So basically, she took the whole kill or be killed thing to heart, and basically trained me to not ever be a pacifist. Jesus, I cannot words today. Yeah, so you can imagine how hard it is to things, especially with Vanilla Sands. He's not known for mercy, for murderers. He's not known for giving murderers mercy. Considering what we did over and over again, to him specifically, to the people that he cared about, yeah, we kind of don't blame him. Like, a lot. We have no reason to not blame him for doing what he did to us. Like, how many times we can't actually count. Neither of us. Even trying to put the numbers together from me and, my sister. We can't actually count that high. So eventually we just stopped trying and left. We didn't know where we were going to go, but we know we weren't gonna stay in our universe any longer. Eventually, once Vanilla saw what was going on, we figured out he was going to probably quit the universe too. Since there was no one else there, it's just, it's dead without actually being dead, technically. You could call it that. EXE tail is just, it's just there. No one occupying it. It's just there to be there. That is, unless you want to count the lower levels, but that's more or less the uh, bare minimum of the universe. What keeps it together? Two beings. One, gold dust sands, and the other, crystal sands. Vanilla have spoken before about how much he didn't like them, but they were still his siblings, so he wasn't going to let us go down there and kill them too. Hell, if we even knew how to go down there to the lower levels of that universe. And, Lancer, Susie, Rouse, and freaking Chris, you know, like everybody is just like stunned about this whole revelation of everything. Like, figuring out all this about like, what they didn't know before, you know, figuring it out. Basically, Vanilla, like Frisk and Vanilla Chara, basically took the whole kill or be killed thing to heart because of what, like, things that had happened in the past. And so they never attempted a pacifist run because they really didn't believe that a pacifist run was possible or that it even existed. So, and on the terms of like neutral runs, why even bother if you're not going to be a pacifist? Why not just kill everyone? Like, why bother being neutral? Why bother saving anyone? Why bother sparing anyone? If you're only going to spare a few, why half-ass it? So that's why they never did a neutral run, because they basically saw no point in half-assing it. So, and if they don't even believe that a pacifist run actually could exist for them, the only runs they ever did were freaking failed genocide runs. And the reason why they were failed is because they could never get past Vanilla Sands. And so basically, what Vanilla told Lancer was true, that, the kid did eventually just end up leaving the universe for, you know, destitute, basically. But, Lancer does end up telling, like, Vanilla Chara, Vanilla Frisk, that, Vanilla Sands didn't really seem to give a shit about, the universe itself. He just doesn't like his siblings. He does not like them at all. That's the only problem he really seemed to have with the universe, is his siblings. The fact that they're there in that universe is the only problem he has with that universe. And, basically, there's this whole thing with, like, well, basically, like, Vanilla Frisk is like, well, now that we're here, what do? We don't seem to, like, more or less, what I'm trying to say here, sis, is this place doesn't seem to have anyone who wants to hurt us. I mean, we attacked first. Well, mainly you, with your, nether flame power. Yeah, like nether flames, like green fire. You were the one who started it, so besides that, no one really seems to want to kill us. Unless I'm wrong, and in that case, someone tell me. I mean, I'm not that much of a person for surprises. Yeah, I mean, if you want to kill me that way, I mean, that's your thing, not mine. And just like Vanilla Chara is just like, well, I guess if this king guy finds it okay, we could stay here. And Lancer is just like, well, you did say that you never did any pacifist runs. And like Vanilla Chara is like, wait, what? You want us to? And Lancer's like, yeah, I mean, it's already a pacifist run. No one has been killed. Well, at least not anyone that would affect the pacifist run. And if you guys don't kill anyone, it stays a pacifist run. And you guys will be a part of the fact that it stayed a pacifist run. So technically, this would be your first ever pacifist run. And Vanilla Chara's like, holy shit, this feeling. I, I don't understand, Frisk. Why do I feel like I want to do this? I've never really cared about starting a pacifist run before. Why? I don't understand. And, Vanilla Frisk is like, me either, but, maybe if we do it, our first ever pacifist run, it's more or less a continuation of someone else's. It's still a pacifist run, it's still considered one. So, I don't think we should, go on it, go on about it for much longer and focus on actually doing it, like not hurting anybody. I mean, you technically didn't hurt that Susie girl, did you? And like Vanilla Char is like, "Hey, Susie, are you hurt?" And Susie's like, "No, I'm fine." And like Vanilla Char is just like, well, "That's your answer." And Vanilla Frisk is just like, "Well then, I guess this will be our first ever pacifist run." And basically, it's like, would you like to overwrite into this timeline? This timeline is currently a pacifist run. You have done 0 pacifist runs. This will be your first pacifist run. Would you like to overwrite into this timeline? And it's basically like, yep. And like freaking Vanilla Chara is just like, okay, let's do this shit. And whenever like all the light is clear, because like a big shining light, whenever they like overwrite into the current like pacifist drawn timeline, whenever they like overwrite it like themselves into it, like they overwrite themselves into it, like overwrite as in like put themselves into it, like overwrite it as in that way. Like they put themselves in the current pacifist timeline. Like they haven't done one before, so putting themselves in this one technically it will be their first ever pacifist timeline, their first ever pacifist run. And so this is a completely, totally new feeling for both Vanilla Frisk and Vanilla Chara. But they don't have much time to, speculate about it, because soon some crazy shiz is about to happen. And basically Ross is like, my device, I was able to repair it, but now it's going haywire again. And it's saying like two specific signatures that are similar to Vanilla in several ways. And Lancer's like, be specific. And Ross is like, oh yeah, right. Vanilla Sands. In many ways. And Lancer's like, oh shit, I feared you were going to say that. I was afraid you were going to say that. Wait, two signatures? Oh shit, that can only mean. And then all of a sudden it's just like there's a note that just gets like dropped by like a carrier pigeon that flies overhead. Like just drops a note. And it's like a note, it's like from a distant town, like not too far away from like it's just like whenever Lancer opens it and sees the letter, it's just like, what? Someone attacked a nearby area. There were little to no survivors. And he's just like, two signatures similar to Vanilla Sands. They're his siblings are there, aren't they? And he's just like, hey, you know, or I'll say, the one good thing about this is I get to teach Vanilla siblings why they should have stayed away back in the deeper recesses of ExE Tail. And he's just like, just popping his neck and cracking his knuckles. And Ross is like, uh, uh, but, but, uh, uh, if you, if you do that, who will run the kingdom? And, Lancer's just like, you can run the core while I'm gone, right? And Susie's like, the core? What the hell is the core? And Chris is like, yes, for I'll say, what's the core? And Vanilla Frisk and Vanilla Char are like, we know what the core is. This is probably like something that's only similar to the core, right? And basically, they just explain what the core is. Like, Vanilla Char is able to explain in better detail because, they lived most of their, like, later part of their lives, like, in the freaking underground. So they've seen the core a couple, like, bajillion times. Like, they've been around like, several times. And it's just like, like, Ralph say, you do your thing, core. Like, because Ralph is the royal scientist, and, Gaster did his work, like, around, like, Gaster was the guy who made the core, And Gaster was the royal scientist, so since like this is the darkening world, and Rousey has been given the position of royal scientist, and like the first ever royal scientist at that, that the darkening world has ever had, they would be in charge of the core, so, you know, stop worrying about me doing my job and you do your job. Like maintenance of the core, perhaps? And Ralph is like, oh shit! Like, yeah, the king is right. Maintenance of the core. Oh shit, 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 shit. It's like Chris is like, never heard Ralph say like swear so much in my life. And Susie's like, yeah, me too. I have never seen Ralph say that panicked. And basically, Vanilla Frisk is like, um, if the Doctor World is anything like the Monster World, um, we could probably help you with some things. And Susie's like, nah, you could help Chris, but not me. Don't tell Lancer I said that, though. I want this to be a surprise. And, Chris actually whispers into both their ears that, you know, make it look like they walked away, but like secretly they'd be in hiding to make sure that like Susie doesn't get herself killed. So they would be close by, but not so close that Susie would notice. They would be watching over Susie to make sure she didn't do something freaking stupid. And sure enough, Susie's taking matters into her own hands, or at least attempting to. Basically, two Sans appear from out of freaking nowhere. Two Sanses. And one of them is like, yeah, it's like the bling bling. It's like Mardi Gras. Like that shit. And, it's just like, it's like, it's like, one of the Sanses is like the one wearing all the gold and shit. It's like, ah, this place, it's filled up with a bunch of idiots. Filled to the brim with them, I tell you. And then there's another Sans which is kind of wearing kind of like the color they're wearing is kind of like the same color as like diamonds in Minecraft. And like they're just like, I wish you wouldn't be like that. There's more to life than, seeking revenge out on our sibling. And how is doing this like accomplishing that? And Goldust is like, you're thinking too small, Crystal. You're thinking way too small. If what I've seen of ink has taught me anything, it's you either win or you die. And I don't plan on dying anytime soon. Do you? And Crystal's like, no, I am all for winning. And like Goldust is like, well then, help me renovate. Like re-renovate this entire area into something of a spectacle of our power. Ain't that something special, isn't it? And Crystal was like, oh, why does it have to be this way? It can honestly be seen that Crystal does not want to do this. But she hangs around with her brother Goldust all the time, and he always is wanting to like pick a fight with somebody. And so, he goes to the highest height of the tallest castle where Lancer is to try to find them. He's like looking up from a very high area to try to see where they are. Because Vanilla's told him what they look like, before like Vanilla and Lancer like were separated, there have been several times where he had told them what his siblings looked like, and even their names, and even like how they acted. And Lancer's just like, you honestly think, it's like, you piece of shit. You honestly think you can just come here, kill innocent people, and just ransack everything and get away with it? I'm going to erase you off the face of this world. And Goldust is like, huh, you're just another arrogant king. I thought I'd get something different from you, but apparently I'm just all out of luck. And, Lancer's like, you could say that again. And he just like is like whipping around, and Goldust just jumps up and automatically he's like hit with like coming from different directions, like freaking spade attacks. Like whenever you have to run from Lancer, like he's like shooting the spade attacks. It's just like annoying little shit. How about you like these? And Gold freaking Goldust just summons two Gaster Blasters, and he like hooks them to his hands, and like they get smaller, and they're like gauntlets around his hands, and they just radiate with like some orange like coming out of the eye socket, like these are my Gaster Gauntlets. Now eat this. Like he's throwing punches, right hooks, left hooks. And, Lancer, Lancer is expecting this, kind of behavior. And, Lancer's just like, damn, you're good. And, Goldust is just like, and you're just another piece of shit that I gotta kill. And, he just raises his arm up and he's like, now, time to die. And then like there's just a bunch of fire that comes out of nowhere and gets formed into this giant phoenix. And like Lancer's like, what the hell? And Goldust is just like, just jumps onto the back of the phoenix, and he's just like, wrong. Hell waits for no one, especially not you. I am going to make it so that you no longer even exist. Now, it's time we end this. Ah, and just with that motion, it's like the phoenix shoots out into like a freaking giant fire arrow. Like at the speed it's going, it like just turns into a giant fire arrow. And it's like Indra's arrow. Like not any not like Nani like not any of like the regular Susano arrows that Sasuke would probably use. Like it's like an Indra's arrow. It's that freaking big. And Lancer's like, so it comes to this. You seems what Vanilla said about you is true. You're too confident. Now is where you die. And like basically like Goldust like makes a swift swipe and turns like the giant fire arrow into a bunch of super freaking like a bajillion arrows. Like bullet hell, worse than Asgore, and a mega flowy with it's insane amounts of bullet hell. And Lancer's just like, you missed the point of this. There is no point. However, that will not stop me from punishing you. And just like down at like ground level, like Crystal Sands is like duking it out with Susie, and like Susie is just using her axe to like destroy all of Crystal's like crystal I like projectiles, like choo 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 choo, and like Susie is just like like just taking it all away. And so like Crystal is like, you give me no choice. Flash crystallization. And it's like shing, and like Susie is automatically turned into like a crystal sculpture. She's basically just trapped, encased in crystal. And, Crystal just takes Susie's axe and is about to freaking behead her. Whenever all of a sudden it's just like there's like a crack that, and like, like the crystal debris, like blinds Crystal. And, Susie just gets her axe back and he's like, I gotta ask you a question. And never mind. Die. Yeah, basically just no mercy. No mercy there. Like, not really a beheading, more just like digging, like just dug, like, her freaking axe into Crystal's skull. And like, the eye lights aren't even on anymore. Like, Crystal is just dead. And now we're back with like Lancer and freaking like Goldust, and he's just like, what? No, sis. Damn it! This is what you get for being weak. And Lancer hears this, and he's just like, what? What did you just say about your own sister? And just Goldust is like, what do you think I said? You actually act like this has any consequence. Even if she is dead now, it's not like I'm going to die anytime soon. No, that's your role. Yeah! And it's just like a giant fire lance. And, like, it's just. Lance has been taking so many hits that if this fire lance spear projectile thingy hits him, he's probably going to go down. And it's just getting closer and closer. And Lance is having a hard time moving. So he doesn't know the other thing he knows how to do. Fight back. And he just, like, forms a bunch of magic, like, cluster of magic, like, a wave around his hand, like a freaking blade around his hand of magic. And like shing, like burst, like the fire lance just bursts into like particles, and like Lancer's just like, I should be the one with the lance attacking you. After all, I am King Lancer. I need to ask Susie to help me with my laugh. She is very good at being terrifying. That she is. I'm at least just glad now that she's alive. To know that she's safe and sound. However, I have no interest in letting you live, scum. And this is whenever Goldust is just like, screw you! And just goes charging in with the Phoenix cloaking around him this time. Like he's cloaked himself in like Phoenix armor. That's what he calls it. Goldust Phoenix armor! And this is whenever shit gets real. Because unlike what Goldust was expecting, for him to just explode on contact, his enemy, Lancer catches it. He catches his attack. Like, he was punching him with both hands, so he basically just grabs onto Goldust's hands, and he grabs on so hard he crushes the gauntlets, and he's digging into his bone, and he's like, and just Goldust is like, what the hell are you? You're no Darkner. Darkners died in that war. They're not strong, they're weak. And this is whenever Dust loses it. He's just like, you sick, sadistic, twisted bastard. Dare you insult my people? And just like freaking left hooks like Goldust in the face, and it sends him into like a gargoyle statue. Bam! And like just like the freaking like 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 Goldust is trying his best to get back up, and like Lancer's like, "Did I say you could get back up, scum?" And he just hits him with a right hook, and it just boom in the jaw, and just with his left hand, he just grabs Goldust up by the collar or like of his hoodie, and he's just like, "Scum like you don't deserve mercy. I don't care if I'm setting a bad example for Frisk and Chara. This I will not allow. This is disrespect for my kind. You will feel what it is like to suffer. You think the death of your sister was bad? No, you don't think about that at all. You're true scum. Only true scum would discard their own kin for just continuing to fight someone they consider their enemy. You care more about killing me than you do the death of your own sister by the hand of my ally. How dare you!" And at this point, it's like there's blue flames emitting from Lancer's armor, and it's just like, you're just another example. And he's like, he just, with his right hand, he throws him up, and then just, with his left, boom, like straight sends him straight into the ground. And since they're like really high up at the top of the castle, he just goes down all the floors like boom, 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 sends out down like several floors all the way to the bottom. And Lancer jumps down and is like with a final punch. Now you'll pay. Now you will die. And Lancer is just like, I'm not used to using much of my power. And Goldust is like starting to get up, like the Phoenix is like rushing over to try to heal him, but the Phoenix, there's like not enough. Like the Phoenix just like it can't sustain itself because Goldust isn't able to sustain himself. He's just like, barely able to like walk, and more or less it's like shambling like he's a zombie. And Goldust is just like, oh, you're supposed to be weak. And Lancer's like, preying on the weak and defenseless, eh? Or at least who you consider to be weak and defenseless. Now do you know why I call you scum? Before you die. And he's just like, this will be the last of my power, but it's worth it. Now, send 5. And 5, like, Lancer Blasters just show up, and it's like, now. Blast. Symphony 5. And he's just like, do, like, just, like, all of them fire, like, one after another, like, do. And, whenever they're firing and more is just being added, it's like all of the power from the Lancer Blasters, they're like suffocating Goldust as they're destroying him. So he's just like, he isn't even able to like utter last words as he's being crumbled. But what he is thinking inside of his head, he's like, you were never weak and defenseless. And if a king is anything of his people, it means your people were strong. Then why? Why did they die? Was it because they were unprepared? If they were prepared, then I would have loved to fight them. If they're anything like you, if they were anything like you, it would have been great to have fought them. But instead, I ruined my chances. And all for what? Die like this? I can't even speak my thoughts to tell you how thankful I am. Warrior's death is the best death you could have given me. The best death I've ever asked for. And that's why I truly do thank you. And why I didn't care for Crystal. Do you really think that ever mattered to me? Do you think that ever mattered to him? Well, if you do, then it shows how blind. You may be strong, but you are blinded by the fact that you believe he cares. Damn thing about you. And now, as I fade away, I embrace the light and the dark. Wait, why does my soul not fade? And I can see hers. Why does her soul not fade? Why does it not fade by now? And we can just see that the reason why their souls haven't been like torn to shreds is that, there were containers, and seeing as Ralse was like done doing her business, checking about like up about like the core, she started to think like, with all this calamity going on, all this like freaking battling, like it got freaking like this dude got Lancer so angry that he just started to use like the blue flame armor, like the blue phoenix is what like Lancer calls it, blue phoenix armor. And it just so happens that he was so pissed that he used it to like smash Goldust into like pieces. And basically, Goldust and like Crystal's souls both were like persisting because like they were stored in like freaking like stabilization like capsules for the reason what reason not many people knew. It's just something that Rouse liked to keep to herself, like maybe a future project. Yes, Rouse was indeed thinking of a future project. Project DT. Rouse put the file, back, you know, basically put it back in the drawer. Yes, the file named Project DT. As she says to herself, soon. Not now, but soon. I wonder what it would be like whenever soon comes around. Now I have the means to do what I couldn't do before. This DT, I could feel it resonating from Vanilla Frisk and Vanilla Chara, but that's not the kind of DT that I think would be right to use. The DT would seem to come from, like, come out from something special, as something like Goldust and Crystal. Yes, their souls are very special. Would you agree, friend? And it's just like one of the people, like the assistants, like are just like, uh, well, sure, but you haven't exactly told us what Project DT is. And Ross is just like, all in due time, all in due time, all will be revealed soon. I don't know why, but I just have the urge to let out a laugh. Yeah, it is very funny. It is very funny indeed, Mystery Man. However, I'm all out of tea for the moment. Oh, look at me talking whenever others are listening. You and me, Mr. Mystery Man. We must go somewhere else. And it's just like Ross walking away, and they just look very pleased with whatever they're planning. And so, like, the assistants, like all of the assistants that heard that thing about Project DT and the fact that Ross is keeping it so damn secret, they're kind of shitting themselves. Like, why would Ross need to keep this shit a secret? Like, and who the is the mystery man? Like, and the it's almost like they're acting like they met this guy before, and there's no one there, but they're saying like mystery man T, like the assistants start getting scared off and like people wanting to get off the project just to get away from the craziness. And Ross is like, "Oh, very well then. I guess I'll just do it myself." Well, she does have one assistant, with her, because, like Vanilla Frisk insisted, you need to do something productive. So yeah, Vanilla Chara, the tether that Vanilla Frisk and Vanilla Chara have to each other, it can be extended like an extension cord, and it, has been done before. So they're kind of experienced with doing it. And so Vanilla Chara has actually taken up a job as an assistant for Ralse in Project DT. But whenever it's like whoever she's talking to, this mystery man, apparently the mystery man doesn't want, Vanilla Chara to know about whatever they're talking about. Like, it's like it stops Ralse before she can actually say the name of the thing. So whatever this is, and whoever Ralse is talking to, that only she can see, and apparently she has tea with very often. Like, it's not too like it's not too off kilter to like mess with Chara's, like Vanilla Chara's, like actual like working with Ralse. She's still gonna work with her on this, whatever it is. But the fact that Ralse doesn't really like tell her what it is and like what she means by soon, and whenever soon comes, like, well, when is soon? Like, Ralse is keeping a lot of secrets, and Vanilla Chara is really wanting to tell Chris and Susie about this, but also, like, it might get her fired, and, a job would be nice for, living, if they're gonna be living in the Darkner world for however long, they're gonna need money. And so, like, Vanilla Chara needs to keep her job, and whatever job Vanilla Frisk gets, they're gonna need to keep their job. So Vanilla Chara just really has to bite the freaking bullet. And with that, mm, I leave this part off because Alan's here in Adaptus because the Dark Shadow Maverick is OUT out of here, you boys. Bye.